Thank you, Dr. Ravi and Dr. Dwaraka and Dr. Milind for giving an opportunity to participate in this CME. My talk is very basic. It's mostly for residents because it's a CME, and I'll be just telling our experience on using OARM, not in CIAM because everybody uses CIAM. So I'll stress more on the dose of radiation of OARM, CIAM. Especially people, everybody is interested to do endoscopic spine also, and what is the repercussions of using so much of CIAM and OARM or an ICT. CT scan means for cranial cases, predominantly intra-op MRI is used, which Dr. Anand will be speaking. For spine, it's predominantly the ICT, either intra-op CT or a intra-op OARM. But then ICT has the advantage of being used in both few of the cranial cases and spine cases, both. Whereas intra-op MR is predominantly it's used for cranial case only. So I'll start with telling a few examples of cranial use of intra-op CT or an OARM. It is used in epilepsy, in refractory epilepsy, especially in SCG. It is used in Parkinson's surgery while doing DBS. One can use it in cellular and paracellular tumors, and especially if it's a recurrent or a residual one where the anatomy is lost, then using a navigation will be useful. And many times it can be used with for a frameless stereotaxic biopsy with a robotic arm, where it can significantly reduce the time and the inconvenience to the patient, where one need not fix the frame and take the patient to the CT scan room. Everything can be done in the theater, and so it reduces the total duration of the surgery and for the patient. Now, this is a case of refractory epilepsy where multiple trajectories was planned, and initial with the navigation plan, the planning was done. This was done with frame-based one. Fixation was done as Professor Singh explained, frame and frameless. So we can do a stereotactic EEG placement either with a frame or without a frame. This was done with a frame-based, and after the electrodes was placed, OARM was used to cross-check whether the planned trajectories was correct, whether they were placed in the planned trajectories or not. Now this child we had done without frame. Here we used a robotic arm of the Medtronic to place the SEG electrodes, and after that again we use the OARM to cross-check whether our trajectories match the planned trajectory or not. This is the superimposed pictures to check whether our trajectories match the what we have placed match the planned trajectory or not. It's also used in DBS. There's a case following electrode placement. We do an OARM to check whether the planned trajectory and then superimpose with the MRI which was planned to check whether we have placed correctly or not. So that in the theater one can do a repositioning if required. This is another case where electrodes were placed in, initially it was placed in the STN, later we had to place in the pallidum. OARM also is used in endonasal endoscopic procedures, especially in recurrent cases. We have used only for in electromagnetic. This was published recently in January 2021, because this has a this is with the new OARM, which has a wide bore, so one can do with the fixation and then plan. There's a tumor and plan the during surgery. It helps us to identify the different foramen as well as the carotid artery and the tumor also. But then if one has, we have the older OARM, which where the bore is smaller, it doesn't, we cannot do the CT scan with the frame. So what we can use is the electromagnetic device, which Dr. Singh explained, that there are 4 types: electromagnetic and optical. Electromagnetic helps if one does on a free head CT scan or O-arm, and then use that for a navigation. Now, this also can be used for doing a biopsy. If the lesion is seen in the contrast CT, one can do a CT scan in the theater and then use those pictures for navigation, and again use the robotic arm to make a twist drill and do the biopsy. But then lesions which are not seen in a contrast CT, it cannot be done. It has to be seen in CT. If it's seen only in MR, then one has to go with the pre-operative MR and then use the robotic arm for the biopsy. So what all we use for intravisualization is use a C-arm, we use an O-arm, and use an ICT. So many of the residents who have difficulty understanding what is the difference between an O-arm and an ICT. I'll be explaining the consecutive slide, what is an O-arm and what is an ICT. O-arm is basically a cone beam CT, which primarily was used initially by the dental surgeons, and later neurosurgeons started using. So before deciding to use which is the best modality in neo theater, whether to use a C-arm or an O-arm and an ICT, one has to look at the following factors. What is the quality of image you're looking at? What is the radiation dose to the surgeon? All the time we look at the surgeon, but we never look at the radiation dose to the patient. How much radiation we have been giving to the patient? Whether we do minimally invasive surgery or we do endoscopy, the dose to the surgeon and patient is equally important. And when we do with all this, we usually look at 3D images when we do with the O-arm or ICT. But whether we need a 2D facility, whether it's helpful or not, and when we use this huge machine, the mobility of the machine in relation to patient also is important. So decide which is better depends on which is more mobile and more flexible, and which is more cost effective. So one has to get like this 3D in the sagittal plane, in the axial plane, and in the coronal plane to have a proper trajectory. And this can be obtained either with an O-arm or an intraoperative CT scan. Like this. But then when one uses a C-arm, like an Orbis which has only 270 degrees rotation, it takes pictures in 270 degrees and then reconstructs. One cannot get 3D, one can get only 2D, one does not get axial plane. So the advantage of O-arm or a multi-slice CT is it's a 360 degrees rotation acquisition of pictures. So it can one give you both sagittal, axial, and coronal images, whereas C-arm cannot give you axial images, where one is using C-arm as along with navigation for doing the surgery. So 3D visualization is the same between CT, O-arm, and a intra CT. The basic difference is in O-arm or a cone beam CT is like a single slice or an 8 slice, or a multi slice. This has a higher slice, has a better clarity of image. One can do a intraops angiogram, CT angiogram in this machine. In this, one cannot do it. But compared to C-arm, it definitely gives a better visualization. And between CT and these two, there is not much of difference. The quality of images, the best quality of image you get in an intra-op CT, and the least is with the C-arm. So, but then to work around, a C-arm is good enough, but a compromise is a O-arm between the quality of image and the 3D visualization. But what is the cost of higher quality of image? The higher the quality of image, the higher is the radiation dose to the patient. So if you compare the three modalities, the highest dose of radiation to the patient is in the ICT, intraoperative CT, and the least is with the C-arm, and in between is O-arm. So this is a comparative thing, that the radiation exposure in O-arm to patient, I'm not talking to the surgeon, is 50% to that of an intraop CT. So before buying anything, either a CT scan and O-arm, one has to think what is the dose to the patient. It's not only looking at the surgeon. And this 360 degrees and 270 degrees I have already explained. And the ability to get axial images also I have explained. Now this paper came in 2009 comparing the effective dose of cone beam CT or an O-arm with the multi-slice scanner. Now and this is again another paper. So there are multiple papers where they recommend, the conclusion was that the cone beam CT or O-arm has a lesser radiation dose to the patient and surgeon than the intra-CT. Now, what is the radiation dose to a surgeon? When one uses, this is a comparison between C-arm and O-arm. Now, the radiation dose to the hand, to the torso, to the neck, and in different surgeries, thoracic, spine, lumbar, open lumbar, and minimal invasive surgery. One can see here the green is the O-arm and the yellow is the C-arm. So there is so much of difference in the radiation dose to the surgeons in one uses as C-arm, whereas it significantly comes down with a 3D imaging. So if one is doing a spine surgeon, then in a year, if one uses C-arm, one should not do more than 389 surgeries or less than 400 surgeries per year. Whereas if one uses a 3D imaging like a O-arm or a CT scan, one can do 5,000 surgeries. So that is the difference. That is the reduction in the radiation dose to the surgeon. So which is very important. So 90% increase in the number of procedures one can do. And it's not only surgeon, because the nurses probably assist more number of cases. They have to assist multiple surgeons, the anesthesiologist, the theater technical staff, all of them are exposed to all the surgeons. So one has to keep in mind of the radiation dose. Now, is there a need for a 2D visualization in our patient? Now, especially when you are doing vertebroplasty, one cannot work only with 3D pictures, because it's a real time to while injecting, and then one has to have a C-arm with a biplane. So in that case, in that place, C-arm is better, but O-arm is not bad, because O-arm also has the facility of a biplane, and C-arm, all the C-arm do not have a biplane facility, whereas ICT doesn't have a biplane. So that is the advantage with an O-arm, where one can use as a biplane also. Mobility of the patient. With this thing, one has to have a spine table that has a better mobility. Both O-arm and ICT has a good mobility, and C-arm has the best mobility. But it has also the disadvantages also. And the final thing is the cost effectiveness. All the whether you use an O-arm or a CT, you need to use navigation. If the navigation is busy in another cranial case, with the C-arm, one can use it as the O-arm, one can use it as a biplane and still work, finish your work. Whereas in ICT, it is difficult to use it as a biplane, because the radiation dose is higher and it's not convenient. So this is what, when the navigation was busy somewhere, so we had done a case just using as a biplane C-arm. Now, why do we use all this? It's all because we are looking at the accuracy of your pedicle screw placement, and by then it increases the operative time, increases radiation exposure. But is it worth it? But it is worth it especially when we are operating on a distorted anatomy like scoliosis or a failed back surgery, or a congenital CV junction, where the anatomy is lost. Then we need all this. When a normal anatomy, probably freehand is good enough, though we think it's good enough, but actually, what does the literature say? The literature this is a systematic review of a freehand and placement with navigation technique, comparison of fluoroscopy, freehand, and navigation technique. Now, what they found is that when you use a freehand, the incidence of breaching is almost 6 to 9%. Whereas when one uses O-arm, it comes down to 0.9%. So in a C-arm, it is like 8.9%. And if the O-arm, it comes down to 0.9%. And this publication was from All India Institute, Delhi. So this is from 9% to 0.9%. This is a significant achievement by using navigation technology or O-arm intra visualization. Does it increase significantly the time duration with all this gadget? It's not true. 30 minutes for each case, but it's not statistically significant. where all one can use. These are the different difficult areas when you're operating in a cervicothoracic region or a thoracic spine. Thoracic spine, C-arm doesn't give a good picture. Cervicothoracic, again, C-arm, you don't get the junctional area, so do not see, or a deformed spine or a failed back surgery are good indications for using intra-visualization with navigation technology. I'll give an example of one of cervicothoracic. This is a case of cervical case where the first we do O-arm with the reference frame. The reference frame is fixed with your region of interest. It should not be more than 1 or 2 levels from your region of interest. And then one has to do with an O-arm shots are taken. So, and then it registers automatically. Then one can use the instruments which are all navigated. Instruments are available, and the tap, the bone awl, and finally the screw all can be done under navigation visualization. One can also calculate the diameter of the screw and the length of the screw required. So everything is predetermined, and then so one does not waste time and one can do things faster. These are the intra-op pictures, and this is the final cross-checking with the interbody cage and the pedicle screw fixation. Finally, we cross-check there is no breach of the pedicle in the patient's pedicle screws. Now, this is a case of a failed back surgery where the first, the plan was to do either anterior interbody fusion and push, and then second stage was to do a pedicle screw fixation percutaneous, either in open. So here we first did a oblique lumbar interbody fusion where the cage was placed from the one pedicle to the other pedicle, followed by percutaneous fixation at that level using the O-arm. And this is post-op CT scan or O-arm cone beam O-arm pictures to check that the screws are placed in the proper place. This is again another failed back surgery where we placed the pack needles. But then when we did the O-arm picture, we saw that one of this pedicle had breached. You can see here that the pedicle had, the pack needle had breached the pedicle on this side. So we changed the pedicle pack needle and then again place the screw. So these corrections, one need not again bring back the patient after surgery. So this can be done then and there on the table when one uses an intra-op. So this is what after correction, and we place the pedicle screw in that trajectories. So that reduces the morbidity to the patient and duration of hospital stay because it is done in the same stage. This is an example of a thoracic spine trauma of a D3, and this is a tuberculosis of a D2. Again, doing with a C-arm is difficult, and you can see here that this lesion is above the sternum is here. So reaching here will be looking here at C-arm will be difficult. So these cases, we use either O-arm or ICT. So we use O-arm. In this case, this is how the patient is positioned, and the picture is taken with the reference frame. And so that the intra, because with the O-arm, one can visualize 8 to 9 vertebrae together. In C-arm, one can visualize only 4 or 5 vertebrae. So that's the advantage. So we could localize where's the disease and the lower normal one. And then after excision, we focus that we could localize the normal body and place the screws in that. And this is the final post-op picture showing that the X-rays confirmation that the screws are in the normal body. This is a case of Cox spine, which is again done with the O-arm, which shows that again the screws is in the normal body, not on the diseased body. No, because this cannot be seen with the C-arm, so intra-op O-arm helped us. Congenital deformity like occipitocervical, where the anatomy is abnormal, it helps us to decide the entry point. I can use a navigated drill and then plan the trajectory in 3 directions, 3-dimensional plane. And not only for the screws in the cervical, but also one can decide what thickness of the occipital bone accidental puncture of the dura can be avoided by deciding the proper placement of your occipital screws and deciding the length of the screws also. In dorsal spine, where it is difficult to see in the C-arm, again, O-arm or an ICT helps us with navigation to do fixation. So in conclusion, using an intra-op CT or an O-arm reduces complication rate and reduces incidence of revisions. It decreases radiation dose not only to the patient but also to the doctor, to the surgeons and all the staff around, and it increases accurate placement of your instrumentation, and it improves clinical decision making with better images. Thank you for your attention.